Okay, so my last video was all about helping to define mindfulness for those new to the practice or who weren't entirely sure what it all meant. And if you haven't seen that one, I would recommend giving it a watch before you invest too much time into this one. So I've added a description below. Just click the link. Whereas this video is going to pull back the veil a little bit and talk about the essence of the practice and how all of the magical associated benefits are made possible, but from a more theoretical or scientific perspective. And it's mind-bending stuff. So if after listening you're still struggling to wrap your head around it, like I was when I first started, that's okay. And as empowering as I find that knowledge, and I really do find it empowering, I am aware that it's not everyone's cup of tea. I mean, not everyone is going to be as curious as me, but at the end of the day, good news is you don't need to know exactly how it's possible. You simply need to believe that it is. And that is the secret. And that is what I am going to talk about really in this video. So at the highest level, everything in the universe is composed of matter. And matter is essentially made up of atoms. But it's when you take a look at what these atoms are made of that things start to get interesting, because they consist of even smaller particles, known as subatomic particles, quantum particles. But many of these don't actually have a physical structure. And that means they aren't technically made of anything tangible, and they don't take up or occupy any space, at least in a way that makes sense in this material world that we live in. So in other words, the basic building blocks of everything that we can see, we can touch and experience don't physically exist in the traditional sense, which poses a really interesting question. At least it poses an interesting question to me, and that is this: if the building blocks of matter don't exist physically, could reality, or could my reality, be an illusion of my consciousness? There are many philosophical and spiritual traditions that support the idea, but science offers another perspective, and this is grounded in something known as quantum mechanics or quantum physics. So I'm going to try and explain, but like I said, it's mind-bending, and it turns what we have been taught about traditional physics and the fixed nature of our reality onto its head. Okay, I'm going to start with an analogy. So I'm in a park playing manhunt, big in the 80s and 90s, with a friend of mine who just so happens to be a ball of energy. Now I'm the hunter, so I close my eyes and I start counting down from 10. The second my eyes are closed and I stop observing the world around me and I stop looking at my friend, this ball of energy, he changes. So the energy changes into something that's no longer just a physical ball. It transforms into a fuzzy wave of energy spread out across the park and occupying every possible hiding space all at once. It's only when I open my eyes and begin to observe, keyword again there, my physical surroundings, that the energy, my friend, decides on a hiding place and transforms back into a physical ball that I can see and interact with. This is actually an analogy for the quantum principle of superposition. I did tell you it gets tricky, which tells us that quantum particles can exist in multiple states or places at the same time, either as a wave, spread out or fuzzy, or as a physical particle, until they're observed, at which point they collapse down into a definite state that we can start to interact with. So, back to manhunt, back to the game. Now I start chasing, but here's the even trickier part, because as soon as I figure out where it's hiding, I lose track of where it's going, and if I try to figure out where it's headed, I have no idea where it actually is, which, as you can imagine, makes catching a ball of energy in a game of manhunt impossible. So this scenario actually relates to the quantum principle of uncertainty. I say that as though it was so obvious, which states that we can't precisely measure certain pairs of properties like, for example, position and momentum or speed at the same time. We can either know where something is or how fast it's moving, but not both at the same time. So what quantum physics has taught us is that energy has the potential to be anywhere or anything. It is simply waiting to be given a directive or a purpose. And your intention, my intention, our intention serves as the architect of that purpose. It's the frequency of our thoughts, our actions and our experiences that literally shape the fabric of our reality. And I think Albert Einstein summed it up best with what is my favorite quote of all time, when he said, "Everything is energy. Match the frequency of the reality you want and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics." So, back to the original question. If you can even remember there was one, which was, is my reality an illusion of consciousness? Well, if when we say illusion, we're talking about a subjective experience shaped by my observation, then I'm going to say yes, because consciousness shapes the raw potential of the universe into the reality that we experience. I believe that my reality is a co-creative process, one that involves me and the universe. It's between the infinite potential of energy and the focus or intention of consciousness, my consciousness. Because at that quantum level, everything is connected. And through phenomena like quantum entanglement, which I'll talk about on another video, we can see that the universe is not a collection of isolated or separate parts, but it is instead an intricate web of relations and connections where every single particle influences the next. So much so that our thoughts and our intentions, they just ripple out, shaping not just our own realities, but the realities of everyone and everything around us. So, in a nutshell, mindfulness is more than a practice. It is literally the foundation for shaping your reality and unlocking your truest and highest potential. So there you go. I hope you found that interesting and, it made sense. And please feel free to leave any comments or questions, and I would love to know what kind of topics you'd be interested in hearing about in the future. And if you want a more detailed explanation of the quantum stuff, please check out my blog over at eternalsunshine.co.uk, where I talk all about those sort of things in more detail, more granular detail. So that's me done again with another video. Thank you very, very much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. See you soon. Take care. Bye.